while I didn't say it's an amazing game, it's a fun game.
Right.
It takes a little bit to get used to. It's like a World War I thing, and there's a few zombies out there that look like Hitler running around trying to beat you down with the metal fence partition. But honestly, I would never think of this game being like a full price game. Even when it comes out, I know it's going directly to the budget bin. I think I think on Metacritic it was like 66, which still isn't too bad. But if you're looking for a fun, just kind of here comes a wave of zombies, kill them type thing, it's a pretty fun game. It's a fun arcadey game. The only thing that'll annoy you is when you run and everything gets that weird. It gets like this blur thing, like you're running really fast when you're really not. Since it's in the play pack, I would say play the hell out of it.
Right.
If you were to ever want to purchase it, I would tell you probably not.
Yeah, I was actually playing it yesterday, and I kept getting this weird, like, graphical, like, filter on it, and it just, like, I don't know if it was just, like, a glitch or what, but it just seemed like it was, like, really bright and blurry, and every once in a while it would cut out, and I would see the game, and it would get, like, a really, like, sharp, and I think that's the way, the developers intended it to be, and it looked really nice. But then it would like cut back into this weird looking, like it was just like really bright and blurry, and it looked like something from like the 64-bit era, like I was playing on like the Nintendo 64 or something. And I don't know, it was really bad. And I was just like, screw it, I'm just gonna keep playing. And I played for through the entirely. I played through the entire first chapter with that little graphical mess on it, and I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna keep playing. And
you might as well.
Yeah, like you said, and I said last week I'm not a big PC gamer, and I'm still not. I decided, or at least I confirmed last week that I do not like playing with a keyboard and mouse at all. I would much rather play with a controller. Yeah, and it's just tough, like one of the things that I really wish that OnLive did was with these games that are PC only games, that they go ahead and work with the developers to map natively like a controller for it, so that way we can just play it on our micro console and we don't have to worry about going to our computers.
See, they did that for a couple games. Like there's that I don't remember the title of them because I really didn't play them very much. There's that zombie game and the alien game. On there, kind of like the Diablo style top down, and they did that, and they also did it for what's that one military game for? Is it Flashpoint? I think, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And they did it for that, and it was terrible. Like, I mean, even setting the mount sensitivity all the way down. Every time you like nicked the thumb pad to look around, you're like looking at the sky, or you're looking at your boots. So it's like, I mean, I understand what they're doing, but I think that there's just some games where they should just leave it alone, not bother, because they have to remember they're porting over PC for the most part. They're porting over PC games. They're not porting over console games, which already have controllers mapped to them. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and that's what I think that's going to be one of the one of the big things that they need to figure out on what they want to do. Like, do they want to cater to the like the console centric gamers, or do they want to more cater to like the PC gamers who don't want to continually upgrade their PCs? You know what I mean? So
I think that's probably what they're going for, because they know the console market is taken. For the most part, it's like you've got 3 consoles out here. Let's say 2 of them that are really contenders. And then you have OnLive, which is like, hey, look, we support keyboard and mouse, we do this and that. It's like, they don't need to really tackle the console market. Would it be cool to see console titles? Yes. Mm-hmm. But their whole thing, originally was, look, PC games without the upgrading. I think, honestly, for me, OnLive is never going to take up for my consoles. I'm never going to be, oh, this one does more than this, or this one does more than that. Mm-hmm. For me, and I know there's other people who are like, I only want one console thing in my house. But for me, I feel that, if I'm going to play a game on the PC, preferably a shooter, I'm going to use a mouse and keyboard. Anything else, like a racer or whatever, chances are I'll be playing it on a console because I have joystick support.
See, I've never been a big PC gamer. I've always been playing PlayStation, Xbox, whatnot. So I wouldn't mind seeing more console-based games on OnLive, but that's just my preference.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be alright. It's just, OnLive originally launched themselves into a specific platform, and it was, don't upgrade your PC. That's pretty much where they were at. So they kind of set themselves up to go down that path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
They always, they said, and I don't remember which interview it was, I think we had it linked in our news section, where basically they were saying we could at some point stream consoles, but now you've got like GameStop trying to even do it, and you got Microsoft saying, we might do it at some point. It's like, alright, well, if they're going to be streaming the console games, then OnLive needs to work even harder on getting that PC area. They need to get working on that more.
Sure. Right. And that's one of the things that I've been wondering is, like, it would be amazing if OnLive was the platform that reinvigorated PC gaming. Like, what if, like, OnLive was the thing that, brought developers back to the PC? They're like, there's this amazing service out there, that, people don't have to sit there and continually upgrade their PC anymore. Anyone basically has access to the service. They even have access on their TV. Like we talked last week with the Vizio deal. Anyone can access it, and we can get in on this. So why not go ahead and develop for the PC simultaneously with the consoles, and then we can just bring it out for OnLive. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be really interesting actually to see where OnLive goes with the next generation of video game consoles.
Definitely.
I'm really excited about that.
I mean, if you think about that too, if you don't have to upgrade your PCs, then the developers don't have to worry about setting up various filters and things like that for your lower resolution settings. You won't have to have your minimal and medium and high and ultra retarded ridiculous setting. It'll always be on the ridiculous setting. You won't have to worry about it. That's less work for developers to have to do too. So.
Right. Definitely. The last piece of news we have this week is a few delays in a couple pretty high profile games that are set to release on OnLive, and one of those is Red Faction Armageddon, and the other one is Fear 3. Now, Red Faction Armageddon was supposed to be released on May 31st. Now it's looking like it's going to be released on June 7th, about a week later, and Fear 3 is going to be delayed until June 21st. What do you guys think about this?
Pretty much at this point, if it's going to make the games, make sure the games come out as few bugs as possible. Might as well. For Fear, we've been waiting since fall 2010 already, so a delay anymore in the gaming industry does not surprise me one bit. So
no, I'm not too upset about it either. I can wait another week or two.
Yeah, I've always been actually happy almost to see publishers give developers an extra week or a month or two or whatever, however long they need to finish up a game. Like the last thing that we want is to go ahead and pay full price for a video game and get like some buggy piece of crap. That
I already know what game's coming up here.
Yeah, and just to see that the developers are having to patch it like a week later, 2 weeks later, and continually have to patch it and fix things that should have been caught in the development process. And that's frustrating as someone who's giving full price money on a video game, and expecting a tight experience, something that should be ready to go to retail. And so in this instance, I'm kind of glad that they're delaying these games. But on the other hand, I'm really excited for Red Faction. I want that game really, really bad. It looks badass.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game.
For me, it's like, I think about all these games that need to be patched up and all this stuff. They're released way too far, way too early. That's part of the reason why the console market is so flooded with games right now. Because people are like, oh, we're ready, put the game out. And here you are sitting here with 10 games you haven't played. I kind of miss the old, before console patches. So let's say, the PS2, Dreamcast, not even original Xbox era, because they still had updates too, I believe. But, like the PS2 and Dreamcasting, games took a lot longer to come out. You know what I mean? And I remember, if you want to talk about distances and game releases, look at the old, Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 days. Oh my gosh, you would get a game for your birthday and for Christmas, and that would be fine. That would last you forever. But you weren't getting a piece of crap that was broken.
Right.
Now it's like you get a disc-based game. The day it comes out, you put your game on the console, and they're like, oh, here's a patch for 200 megabytes. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Then you get to wait for that. You're like, oh, thanks. Might as well just delete it. But I don't mind delays. Whatever makes the game better, because, the fewer patches, the better for me. And also the fewer exploits when it comes to multiplayer gaming and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting to see if, because these are a couple of high-profile releases, so I'm going to be interested to see if OnLive chooses to push any sort of promotion like they did similarly with Homefront. Especially with Red Faction, that's going to be a big release, so...
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe more with Fear than Red Faction, because Fear has, kind of drummed up a lot more. You hear, I honestly hear more about Fear than I do for Red Faction, and I think part of it is because of Red Faction's new direction.
Yeah, it's definitely like I don't know if you say controversial as much as, just like going in an underground environment from a previous game where you're more of an open world is, definitely a gamble, but...
Well, really, I think they're just taking it back to the original Red Faction. Mm-hmm. I mean, for the most part, that was indoors. You were in the mines and in the caves and stuff like that, which, honestly, that just makes for the limitations of the software and hardware for back then,
Right.
But now, to take it back there, it's how... I know they can't possibly get rid of the complete open world thing. So the question is, how open world will it be while keeping it linear and kind of closed in?
Right.
So
and for me, linear isn't bad, but what's really cool is that they're implementing that new mechanic of being able to rebuild stuff that you've previously blown up, and that opens up entirely new gameplay mechanics, which is really, really cool. So
I just hope they don't rely on that too much.
Yeah.
I don't want that new gimmick to be overused to the point you're like, oh boy, look, I get to build a bridge again.
Yeah, but, that could suck. You basically have to break down and destroy an entire building. Okay, now you have to rebuild it.
What am I playing The Sims here? Or SimCity? What's the deal?
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly though, this is actually something that's come up in the forums, was the new direction and how do people feel about it. Some people don't like the idea. They like the fact that Red Faction was completely destructible for the most part. You got to do whatever and whenever. But honestly, the way I feel about it, and I think I had actually a few other people who agreed, you can only do open world sandbox for so much. Then the story will actually start to lose its effect. If you go through 3 chapters straight, and maybe it takes you an hour of back to back, and then you spend 4 hours on just blowing stuff up. I've gotten to the point sometimes where I forget what I'm doing when I start the game back up. And then I got to go through my objective list, and then I'm like, oh, okay. And then you're pulled out of the story when you're just running around blowing stuff up for no real apparent reason.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, definitely. So it's going to be interesting to see, how THQ handles all of that, and hopefully that June 7th release date's going to stick, and we'll see something cool that OnLive does with those guys. I'm definitely ready for another
June
Red
should
Faction.
be a good month.
Yeah,
I'm
June's
hope
definitely
so.
going to be a good month.
Because it's no longer May.
Let's roll into the topic